Right, welcome back to another edition of Tea and Toys. And so talk about the Star Trek Unification. Now, if you've probably seen on, I'll just pause on it now, online that OTOY, which is I believe the Roddenberry archive for Star Trek, and they've produced these labours of love. Labours of love, they are officially licensed. Some say, oh, they're not canon. I tell you right here, right now, I consider these 100% canon. Because I have not been a fan of modern Star Trek. I actually like the 2029? Bloody hell, in the future. I like the 2009 movie. The second two didn't enjoy those movies. I think Simon Pegg is probably the worst bit of casting for Star Trek and for Scotty, without argument. Obviously, the worst pick to be Scotty, and why they made him some klutzy comedy character. But anyway, that's by the by. That is by the by. And then we've had Discovery again, absolute dreadful Star Trek. Strange New Worlds, which tries to be better, but I cannot get on with it. I can't. I've tried with Strange New Worlds, but I cannot get on with it. Prodigy, on the other hand, actually really like Prodigy. Again, it is loyal to continuity. It starts off a bit odd because it wasn't really intended to be a Star Trek show. Then it does grow on itself. Although I didn't love the ending. I didn't like what they did with Dal at the end of Series 2. I don't know why they had to make him sidestep. I've got my thoughts on that, but they had to make him sidestep. But by the by. And Lower Decks. I hate the character of Mariner. I hate her. I hate her. The characters around, Rutherford's, I can't remember the Orion's name now. Literally was in my head a minute ago. I actually don't mind those. I don't mind the characters. I like the Vulcan character in that. But I just don't like Mariner. But how I watch it is they're taken from the deliberately written logs of Mariner. So what you're seeing is basically what she's written. That's how I interpret it. That's, you want to see it how you want to see it. So Lower Decks, I don't mind Lower Decks, but I don't like the character of Mariner. Then we got this stuff. So sort of your adjacent Star Trek, and I will say canon. It is canon. And so from this, we had Memory Wall, where Spock mind melds with Yeoman Colt. I believe she was from The Cage, I think, from memory. I've watched the original series, but it has been a long time since I watched it all the way through. I don't know why. I love it. I've got the remastered versions. Absolutely love it. Love it. So I'm a proper classic Star Trek fan. I'm not old. Pretty old these days, but I'm not old. So I actually grew up with repeats of the original show and the first few movies. So that's what I grew up with. I didn't get into Next Generation until well into the 90s, when I would have been in secondary school. So so Star Trek for me was Kirk and Spock, and McCoy, and the proper Scotty and Chekhov and all those characters. Not so much the animated show. It was on, and what I've seen of it, I've enjoyed of the Star Trek animated, but outside of that, so I'm changing topic here. So Memory Wall started off with Spock mind melds with Yeoman Colt, and I don't think we've got the complete story yet. We need to see more of these to see how they all hatch together and how they all come together. So I do think this is meant to be eventually one big, or one medium-sized, like mini silent movie. So from then, and then we got the big one, a big hitter, big hitter, and that was Regeneration, where we go back to Narendra 3, where this Enterprise D has been crashed, and this is the salvage operation to get the ship off the planet. And then we get to the mountaintop where Picard's buried Kirk's body, where he placed the badge, and it comes round to seeing the reveal of Spock. Now, these things aren't perfect. They are not. It's not perfect, but it's good enough that people will accept this as a damn fine goodbye tribute to Kirk and Spock, who for all intents and purposes, were Star Trek very much in the beginning, and to a lot of people, they still are Star Trek. They weren't given, well, especially Kirk wasn't given a respectful send-off. Like what Rick Berman said, or this is taken from what William Shatner said in interviews, that no, they're killing his character off, and that's it, done and dusted. Don't think about it anymore. So, and I think Shatner ever really loved that. So he wrote that book called The Return. So this is them going back and going, you know what, we need to give these characters a proper send-off. And now the third one's come up, which we started with, is the Unification, where it's like, where am I? So Gary Mitchell's in there. Now he was in the first episode that Kirk's in, where No Man Has Gone Before. I'd have to rewatch it to get some context. I don't know why he's in there. I'm guessing they're using him to sort of help bring back Kirk or something, because there we are. If you watch Picard Series 3, I'm trying to find the clip where we saw Kirk's body was in status on the space station. It is in there. I think I've skipped past it. But you know what I mean. We've seen his body has been kept there. So using, I believe Ensign Colt. I think Yeoman Colt does a bit of time traveling stuff, and she's the one that recovers the body. And they must use Gary Mitchell to sort of, I don't know, bring the soul back into the body or something. We don't know. It's a silent movie, and we get Kirk walking towards people, and we see Robin Curtis's Savick sort of say farewell. Because the idea is, because obviously the original Spock is stuck in the Kelvin timeline, Kelvin universe, Kirk has to, this reanimated Kirk has to travel across to the Kelvin universe to basically say goodbye to Spock. And it is a moment, and this is Spock's son in the background. That is Spock's son. It was from deleted script lines from Star Trek 5 or Star Trek 4. Either way, they're deleted lines from one of the older movies. And it's nice to see Robin Curtis back as Savick, and we get obviously to me, he's canonised. This is Spock's son, 100% Spock's son. Don't argue, Spock's son. And then from there, Kirk approaches this character from. Now he's actually from the Kelvin timeline. I can't remember. I couldn't tell you what his name is, but I do know he appears in either Discovery or Strange New Worlds. It's probably why I don't know his name, because I won't watch that. And Sam Witwer is the one that did the bodywork for playing Captain Kirk, William Shatner's Captain Kirk. But it's all approved by William Shatner to use and all that sort of thing. But what Sam Witwer does, he does an amazing job. And then from there, he sort of travels through this time corridor where he meets shadows of his former self. So we meet the 1966 version of Captain Kirk, and then we get the 1980s Admiral Kirk at this point, I suppose. And they're all together on screen, and they sort of slowly fade away as time catches up with the one that has to walk through the corridor. It's a beautiful moment. This moment, he's talking about Genesis. So again, maybe the Genesis device is, because Genesis 2 is actually at the same space station, so it's possible that they needed to use that as well to recreate him in some way. And then he sort of walks to, he ends up on New Vulcan, and he's got to the deathbed of Spock. Again, like you said, there are things. This isn't perfect, and I hope that they do continue to sort of tweak it to correct, like where when they're moving their heads, you sort of see the animation sort of slips away from the face, and you see like partial of the actor underneath. But at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, because this is a true farewell to Kirk and Spock. Because Spock going back to Kirk's body was one moment where Kirk deserved that, because at that point Spock's still alive in the normal universe. So it's only fitting that he's brought back to life, and he's at his best friend's deathbed, and they watch their last sunrise together on New Vulcan. And I'm not going to lie, guys, it was a moment. It really hit me. It really hit me. And thank you, OTOY, basically. Thank you, OTOY, for putting this together, because it was absolutely respectful. It's full of Star Trek lore and canon. And watch for yourself, guys. 765874 Unification. Watch it. Watch all three of them, Memory Wall and Regeneration. And if you're a true old Star Trek fan and not a fan of the Kurtzman era stuff, then this is definitely for you. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to me rabbit on about this project from OTOY, and I'll see you guys in the next one.